Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Just watched AEW Revolution, the pay per view tonight, Sunday, March 6th. And it was a good show. I will say my opening statement is I personally did not enjoy this one as much as two pay per views ago, especially. I guess that's the one where Kenny Omega defended against our buddy there, Christian Cage, and then they had that's when CM Punk wrestled Darby Allin and Bryan Danielson came out. So that was probably my favorite AEW pay per view. I did go to Double or Nothing to 2021. That was a really good pay per view as well. Um, I don't know. Maybe it was just me. A lot of diminishing returns. This pay per view felt very similar in a lot of ways to the last couple of pay per views. Like there's always some crazy 6-man tag brawl, usually involving Sting and Darby Allin, or Christian Cage, I think, was in one with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus last time. So there's some patterns here. The singles main event, whether it's Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage or, who else, Omega versus uh, Hangman Page. This one, the main event, I thought delivered tonight, but like I said, it just felt like there's a certain pattern now to these AEW pay per views. Maybe just the match selections. I was correct that Eddie Kingston finally got his big victory. And to be honest with you, that was kind of an emotional high for me as a fan because I've been saying that our buddy there, Eddie Kingston, needed to really win this match. And I like the fact that Jericho did not shake his hand and that we're headed to some type of, rematch, hopefully, or a continuation of the story. That's one thing that AEW doesn't do very well, folks. And this has been discussed by others. They kind of like have all these feuds that have like one or two matches. And that was a big criticism for Cody versus MJF. They had one match. And a lot of things in AEW that could be stretched out, they only seem to do a few matches for these feuds. And they put a lot of energy and effort into building up the feud. Now, of course, on the other end of the spectrum, where buddies there at WWE tend to have rematch after rematch, Dolph Ziggler versus fucking The Miz a million fucking times, right? So for this show, and you're welcome to make comments, folks. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, you're welcome to leave a comment on any of those platforms, and usually they come through. If you're leaving a comment and I can't see it, try going directly to my YouTube page, subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel, leave your comment there, and that'll probably pop up because I'll take any comments or statements that anyone has, quite honestly. I did make some notes. Now, here's the thing. I wanted to get on here quickly. I know that there's a lot of people doing live streams at this hour right after a pay per view. You can go anywhere for your wrestling content and thoughts. So I'm glad you're here. But what did I think of this match by match? Okay, the first match, what's her name? Layla Hirsch versus Chris Statlander. I did not see a whole lot of that match. So I'm going to refrain from giving it a star rating, the Messier star rating for now. And the way that I do star ratings, folks, is really how well I think the match did based on its own merit. Why are people texting me while I'm doing this, for Christ's sakes? I mean, Jesus. You don't text me all fucking night, and now when I'm doing a live stream, you need to text all of a sudden. Ben Smith chiming in. Good show, but just too long. Yeah, fair enough, buddy. I mean, it was about 4 hours. I mean, the show, it said that here at the movie theater it said 7, and they had the buy-in thing that was a freebie. They had that on the big screen as well, which was nice. But yeah, it was a long show. But I mean, it's one of those things where, Ben, let's just analyze this. I'm not picking on you, buddy, but I mean, I saw some people on Twitter, even my buddy Aaron Rift over at No DQ, and I be jokingly referred to some people that were complaining as pansified Yanks because some guy in Germany was saying that it's 5:15 in the morning and he was watching. So it's all perspective, right? But here's my point. What would you take off the show? Would you lower the length of the matches, like shorten the length of the matches? Would you take a few matches off? What would you suggest, Ben, to do? Because these pay-per-views are essentially in theory, the big blow-offs for all these weeks and weeks of dynamites and rampages and all these things, darks and elevations. So what would you suggest AEW does? You know what I mean? I mean, I remember, for 20 years or so, or at least 15, we had the basic 3-hour pay-per-view. That was kind of the thing. This one's 4. Okay, I get it. I mean, I say that Raw's too long. It's so long that 3 hours I don't watch it. I just reclaim my life by not watching Raw. But I mean, I'm just asking, Ben, if you want to answer, feel free, because I do understand that critique. And to be honest with you, I took a little nap, buddy. In the Bryan Danielson Moxley match, I conked out. I started watching at 4. If I started at 5, was probably the right length. I'm trying to think. So are you on the West Coast, Ben? Are you over there in? Are you over at the West Coast? Are you in California, somewhere like that, buddy? Because that would make sense if you're 3 or 4 hours behind. I always get confused if the West Coast is 3 or 4 hours behind the East Coast. Okay, but anyway, I'm curious, Ben. You must be on the West Coast. Oregon, very nice, good state. Billy Jack Haynes State, Pacific Northwest, great wrestling pro history there, buddy. Don Owens and Billy Jack Haynes, Stan Stasiak. I was actually watching on YouTube Playboy Buddy Rose, like 1981, 82. Playboy Buddy Rose was turning on somebody. I'm trying to remember who he was turning on. Beat some guy to a bloody pulp. It was Matt Bourne, I think. A young Matt Bourne and Buddy Rose. Real young Matt Bourne. Good stuff. And then Roddy Piper, some match. I get this whole timeline of this Buddy Rose stuff from Portland, Oregon, with Don Owen as the promoter. Interesting setup they had there too, buddy. Ben, if you know what I'm talking about, this old Portland wrestling stuff. Let's see what else can I discuss. So then we go into that 6-man, the House of Black thing. I've been very much a person who's satisfied with this group, this House of Black with Buddy Matthews and the big man Brody King, and of course Aleister Black. I do feel like they are a main event level heel faction, and I thought that they all were quite good, and I believe that they won their match, if I'm not mistaken, and they pinned the new guy, Eric Redbeard. Welcome to AEW, pal. You get to lie on your back and take a pin. So I thought that was a wild and woolly match. I think I gave that 3 stars. From what I saw, what was the second dark match there? God, I got my whole train of thought mixed up. God, what was it? Oh, it was Hook versus what's his dick? Hook versus QT Marshall. I gave that I think 2 stars. I mean, because I didn't see too much of it. I was kind of driving. I had that on my fucking phone, and I wasn't concentrating, obviously. But anyway, so let's go to the fucking real show, the pay-per-view. It starts off, what was our first match there, Ben? Help me out, buddy, because I have my notes, but of course I can't look at my notes. My notes are on the fucking phone, and I'm on the phone, so I can't look at the goddamn notes. So the first match was on the actual show itself. Oh yeah, Jericho versus our buddy Eddie Kingston. Glad Eddie Kingston won. I think our next match was a tag team title match, right? And I think I predicted that the Red Dragon team would win. Here's where they lost me. Okay, Ben. They lost me on a couple of these matches back to back. The tag team title match, the 6-person 3-team match, and then the match after that, which was the ladder match, the face of the company ladder match. It had that, indie wrestling, NXT, AEW, early AEW choreographed vibe, and this is really a kind of a thing with wrestling that started around 2010, as far as I can tell, like the modern style of, you can just tell that these guys worked all their spots out, brother, in the locker room, because in both the tag team title defense and I didn't like the psychology in the tag team title defense. And the psychology was supposedly there was some fucking agreement between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. But what was the agreement? Was it that the Red Dragon was supposed to lie down and let the Bucks win? If that was the case, why didn't they literally just have Red Dragon lie down and the Bucks pin him? So obviously there's no agreement, because that would have been the smart way to do it. If you wanted to take the belts away from Jurassic Express and just put them on the combined team of Dragon and the Bucks. So they obviously have no agreement, because if this was a shoot, they would have had all that time to figure that out, right? So just that persnickety thing of, okay, the heels are double teaming the baby faces, and eventually the heels fight each other because they're heels and they can't trust each other, they don't get along. And so it just, the psychology to me was just too much. And I just didn't like it, I just felt very oh boy. So my good friend Maureen McCarthy, AEW is a pro wrestling organization, Maureen. It's all elite wrestling, which takes place in a lot of times here in Jacksonville, Florida, where I am tonight. They were in Orlando. The company is owned by Ted. I was going to say Ted Turner. It's actually owned by Shad Khan, who actually owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, and his son Tony Khan more or less runs the thing. It's a pro wrestling show, basically, Maureen. Momo, thanks for checking in. So going back to this thing, this third match, this ladder match, Keith Lee, was nice to see him in there. Powerhouse Hobbs, I thought they did quite well. Orange Cassidy doing his spots with the ladder. Like I said, it's just, to me, it reeks of choreography. Like they all got in the dressing room before the match, or oh, we got to do this spot, we got to do that, and I just don't like it. It doesn't feel like Magnum TA Tully Blanchard. I don't think I said Shaka. Just Shad Khan. Shad. I wish Shaka Khan owned AEW. That's good. I'm going to use that. No, it's Shaka Khan. Shaka. It's Shad Khan. He's the 94th richest person in the United States. I looked it up. Shad Khan, who owns both the Jacksonville Jaguars. He invented some type of gizmo that attaches your bumper to your Corolla if you have a Corolla, which is the most commonly sold car in the United States, apparently. So Shad Khan is this self-made billionaire who bought the Jacksonville Jaguars about 10 years ago, and he bought his son a wrestling company. I just spilled some water in my car. Very 30. Well, so let's go back to this thing. What happened next on the show of shows? God, so help me out, guys, because I can't look in my notes while I'm doing the fucking thing. This is kind of a quandary I'm in. But basically, then we had, was it Jade versus Tate Conte next? Or am I forgetting something? But Jade versus Tate Conte, I thought they actually had a pretty good match. I was a little disappointed by the commentary. I feel like they were promoting some of the other upcoming events. What's up, Laza? My buddy Lawrence Laza here. Good day, all greetings from Brisbane, QLD, Australia. My friends, Monty and the Pharaoh, had none other than Outback Jack on, Lawrence, who's actually he can't see now. He's blind. Interesting. And he's lost half his foot, but the guy's got a great attitude. If you look up on Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube channel, plug them. They have this nice interview with Outback Jack from last night. The Marine is kind of shocked. Yikes, such a low bar to own a wrestling company. Well, you know what it is you buy it, you buy it. I mean, that's democracy at its best, Marine. It's just, if you have money, you buy stuff. You know what I mean? So what else? I mean, we've seen people produce films that didn't know what the fuck they were doing, but they had the money to do it, right, Momo? So what's next? Women's title match, Tate Conte versus Jade Cargill. I was actually quite impressed with Jade. Like, this is the first time I really looked at Jade Cargill like, okay, you know what? She really kind of is a prodigy. She's, whatever she is, weight-wise, sculpted, height-wise, maybe 6 feet even, 6'1", 6'2". But this woman, quite an extraordinary athlete, and she is a mother. She's a mother of, I think, a 4 or 5-year-old daughter. And Jade really looks great. And tonight, I think she and Tay had a really pretty decent match. I mean, it might have been a match better suited for Dynamite or Rampage, but I thought it was good. Correct. Yes, I'm right about a lot of stuff, as you know. Marine was one of my students in core acting years ago. Some of you folks might know that I'm also an acting coach. If you need personal instruction through the internet, I am available for a charge, of course. What else? So also on this pay-per-view, so I like the Jade Cargill match. I like the fact that she won. The storyline was she kept going for that certain, the Jaded, the finishing maneuver, and she couldn't get it, and then finally she got it and won. I thought that was good. But the question remains, where does Tate Conte go from here? So now they have a thing where the kissing, like the kissing angle of Jade kissing this person, kissing her opponent at the beginning of the match. They didn't really want to go there. I mean, I think the thing that I would have just said if I had been doing commentary, and I want to get into the commentary, folks, because I have some hot takes on this commentary team. I would have pressed that it was just a psychological warfare. It's psychological warfare for Jade Cargill to kiss Tate Conte in the mouth. Let's see. Sure, some of the go hard botch spots in AEW remind me of ECW, where wrestlers would go hard and botch stuff. Yeah, it's big risk, big reward, and sometimes you see what happens when you risk. Sometimes you lose. You know what I mean? We didn't see anything. Remember that time when Sammy Guevara like knocked out Matt Hardy like 2 or 3 times, but the really nasty one at that pay-per-view, like with the ladder match, it really looked like Matt Hardy fucking died in the middle of the match. It was pretty scary. Hey, Chungos, what's up, buddy? I enjoyed the hell out of the Jay and Tate Conte match. Me too. They both look great, by the way, which always helps. What came next, guys? Help me out, because like I said, I have all of my notes. But what happened after Tay and Conte? Was it the dog collar already? Like the dog collar came on like 5th. And that was, here's the thing, folks. I was trying to remember the original Valentine Piper dog collar match from '83, which I think is the first, like, wide, maybe it was the first ever dog collar match, to be honest with you, because they had chain matches, like Russian chain matches before that, I think, with Ivan Koloff. But as far as the neck thing, that might have been the first, or maybe Piper and Buzz Sawyer had one before then. But they had like a studded metal fucking gothic scary collar, and these guys just had kind of regular brown leather collars. Obviously the chain broke late in the match, was inopportune time. But you know what, I thought it was good, but for some reason it didn't. I really had high expectations, like this dog collar match was going to be like a 5-star. Oh my god, this was awesome. It didn't quite do it for me. 3.5, maybe. I gave Tay and Jade 3.5. The way that I do the stars is out of 5 stars, how good the match was. I typically say with my ratings, it's not the star rating for any given match is based on the potential of the match itself. So if Jade and Tay could have had a match out of 5 stars, how close to that did they get for themselves? 3.5 versus their own potential, not comparing any match to the other matches, if that makes any sense. Chunga says, as a matter of fact, I'm rewatching it now in slow motion for research purposes. Yeah, that's it. Funny. And don't get you wrong, you love both AEW and ECW. Yeah, fair enough. Of course, somebody's going to make. There's one thing about Jacksonville that I don't like, and it's these people with their goddamn cars and their motorcycles. Like every asshole thinks that you need to hear their fucking engine roar. I don't. Okay, I don't need to hear your fucking engine. I've got enough problems in my own life. I don't need to hear your fucking car make noise. Okay, or your child or your dog. So what the fuck else? So yeah, it was bloody. The end was good. We finally see Wardlow turn. I was correct in my predictions. My buddy Shane McKenna has the wrestling fans group on Facebook. By the way, I've kind of taken over a group called the Foreign Object now. If you're on Facebook, look up the Foreign Object. It used to be called like WWF WCW Classic or something shit like that, but somehow I became the administrator. Look up the Foreign Object Wrestling Group and throw all your wrestling shit in there as well. But Shane McKenna of Wrestling Fans does this poll. I entered it, and I did predict Wardlow would win, and I predicted Eddie Kingston would win. And there goes my goddamn battery. My dome lights out because I tried to light this fucking live stream. So hopefully my car will start, and I won't be stuck here in the fucking movie theater parking lot listening to other people's engines all night. But in any event, yeah, the thing with Wardlow and the ring and MJF, it was all good, but it just once again just felt like something was a little off tonight, and I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe it was just me. What was after that? But it was nice to see CM Punk get the victory. Then we had what was the next match, folks? Um, God, it was the Dr. Britt versus Thunder Rosa. Once again, a good match. I predicted Thunder Rosa just because they needed to do something. Give your group a plug on Laz's Pro Wrestling Fan Group. Thank you very much. And there's a nice plug for Laz's Pro Wrestling Fan Group. Good group, of course. The Tate Conte, the Thunder Rosa women's world title match. Two women's titles on the line on this show. A good match. Dr. Britt with her little troop of women. Now you have to wonder how come Thunder Rosa doesn't bring out some girls to help her. You know what I mean? It's a 3-on-1. How come Thunder Rosa doesn't have any friends? Where's Mercedes Menendez? I appreciate that, Marine. Thank you. But where is everybody to help Thunder Rosa? Thunder Rosa, she actually complimented this Macho Man Randy Savage shirt that I'm wearing. You can't see now because it's too dark. But Thunder Rosa is a nice lady. And Dr. Bright wins, but where do we go from here? I mean, is there anyone that's hiding to face Dr. Britt? I mean, perhaps we could have Serena Deeb challenge Dr. Britt, but that would make somebody a baby face, which I guess would be Britt, because the fans love Dr. Britt. But what are we going to do here with Dr. Britt? And furthermore, what happens to Thunder Rosa? I mean, she just loses again. What was next, guys? Gee whiz. Was it Danielson and Moxley? Was that next? It was. So here's the thing. One of you guys said something about it was a long show early on. I think it was Ben. But here's the deal. I kind of conked out. I'll be honest. It happens every time I go to one of these things. I have some match late in the show where I conk out, and I conked out. I fell asleep during the fucking Bryan Danielson Moxley match, which was the match I wanted to see the most. Same thing happened a couple of times ago with Punk and Eddie Kingston. I conked out. So for this one, I conked out for a few minutes, and I did see the replay. William Regal making a surprise return. Also, Shane Strickland earlier in the night, Swerve from back in MLW. Nice to see him and Tony Schiavone having a few nice words because they worked together in MLW. And Shane Strickland, he was over in WWE for a while with NXT, right? Wasn't he with the B-Fab and that whole group? And then they broke them up for no reason. But it was nice to see Shane Strickland, get a job. Now, once again, I mean, I don't want to go through this whole thing again, but another talent coming into AEW, what do they do? Where do they go? Does he go on Dark Elevation with Jay Lethal? I mean, what the hell? I mean, they got all these talents. Are they going to make Ring of Honor another show or another working promotion? The talent is just too big now. Chungus wrote a book. Let's read it. I was a fan of Thunder Rosa from way back when. The question mark in her and Colt Cabana. Ricky Starks were all back in the NWA. The whole situation between Rosa and Ivelisse kind of made me lose respect for TR. Yeah, there was some type of shtick between those two, Thunder Rosa and Ivelisse. You can give more details, but they had like a kind of a shoot in the middle of the match or something. They should give Thunder Rosa another shot and have her win the title from Britt Baker. Could see Rosa as someone who'd have a good run as a champion. Well, that's what I'm saying, buddy. And I thought that was going to happen tonight. Was there any title changes tonight? The tag team? I guess not. Tag team stayed the same. TNT women stayed the same. The TNT men's was not on the line. Or the TBS title, I should say. Jade Cargill. And then we get to the main event. We know what happened there. So no title changes tonight, right? I think that's the first time ever on an AEW big show. Maybe going back quite a way. Maybe at pay-per-view. I know that they had that Fall for the Fallen before they had any titles back at Daly's Place, I think 2 or 3 years ago. So point is, I think this might be a first. It might be a first with no title changes. Thanks, Momo, for the thumbs up. Let's see what else. By the way, Maureen, there is an interview with Barry Prime. There's 2 interviews. The Godfather, of course, Acting has 2 interviews on Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. You always heard me talk about Barry Primus, my own acting teacher. Well, I interviewed him. So look for those here on Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Just put Barry Primus, Primus, and Mike Messier in your search engine on YouTube. So what else? Then we get to we had that whole thing. We had the another women's title match. We had the Danielson. I like the fact that William Regal came out, and now we're going to have Miro. You're right, Laza. Good point. I also think AEW should do with more Miro. He wasn't even on this show, and where the hell is he? And he should have been on this show, but I don't know where we would have put him because, like Ben said, we're already having a huge long show. But Miro should be off the shelf. Maybe his wife will come into WWE, but that's not another person. Speaking of other people, we had Paige Van Zandt looking oh so nice with what's his face, Dan Lambert, up in the stinger seats, the rafters. They kept going to them, but I don't really know what the point was, other than to build up Scorpio Sky. And he's going to wrestle our buddy Sammy Guevara. Could Scorpio Sky get the title over Guevara, setting up Scorpio Sky to lose it to Wardlow, or is that too fast of a fucking thing? Because I don't know if we want to see Wardlow, who's turning babyface, wrestle Sammy Guevara right now. That doesn't seem to make much sense. So, I mean, I don't know if AEW booked themselves into a corner, but it's like, if you're not going to take the title off of Sammy Guevara to put it on Scorpio Sky, to defend it and possibly lose it to a newly formed babyface in Wardlow, what the hell are we doing here? I mean, if we're headed to Sammy Guevara as a babyface champion, who's kind of growing on me, to be honest with you. I haven't really liked the guy for most of the time, but he does put his ass out there. There's all these stunts that he does, so I give him credit. Sammy Guevara, I'm talking about. I have a hard time saying his last name, but I do give him credit because he is pretty damn good. So then we had that whole fucking thing. Then what was the next match? Was it another singles match, or was it the 6-man clusterfuck fun? I think I might be forgetting something, but we had the 6-man thing. 63-year-old Sting, wonderful for his age and really for anybody. I mean, I think Sting's actually, I think Eric Bischoff said that on 83 Weeks today. In some ways, Sting's a better wrestler now than he was 30 years ago. Unbelievable. 63 years old, the wrestler Sting, not the rock star Sting, going through 3 tables with a body splash. The 6-man was wild and woolly and fun. I think I gave it 3.5. I give a whole half star to Sting. So, I mean, I don't know. I gave 3 stars to Danielson Moxley, but I kind of fell asleep. So what can I say? If AEW needs to release talent to open spots for talent to fit in AEW, who should they release? Oh, boy. Well, I'm glad they released the Vanilla Midget, what's his face? Jurassic Express's little guy, Marco Stunt. I'm glad they released him, as they seem to have heaps of talent signed that they use only on and off or don't use. Well, is Janela officially released? Is Joey Janela officially gone? I think he is. So that's one. Sonny Kiss, you got to do something with him or let him go. I mean, I don't know if he's getting. I mean, some of these wrestlers, if they got guaranteed contracts and are not taking bumps, they're probably happy. But I mean, is Sonny Kiss doing anything? If not, use him or lose him. But Jay Lethal, use him or lose him, or maybe this Ring of Honor, you throw some guys in there. Who else? Private Party's been around. I mean, they were in this 6-man tag tonight. They beat the fucking Young Bucks like within the first month of the original AEW Dynamites, right? But Private Party hasn't done much of anything. So I mean, there's a lot of people. Butcher and the Blade, like they're floating around. I mean, the Butcher's getting a lot of credit because he lost some weight. But once again, I mean, the Butcher and the Blade, and I kind of like that tangent. The Butcher and the Blade and Bunny, but how much better is the House of Black? Even just putting them face to face, they're basically the same type of group, a macabre, cryptic group, the Bunny and the Blade and the fucking Butcher, and then the House of Black. But you tell me, isn't the House of Black much more legitimate than those 3? So you can fire them all if you want. But I kind of like looking at the Bunny. She's cute. And she did I mean, so some of these wrestlers, you can see why Tony Khan or anybody else would have a hard time firing some of these people, because when they're called upon for service, they do a good job. Like AJ and Tate Conte and the Bunny and Penelope Ford all had a great tag team match at the end of 2021 at Daly's Place that I was at. You can see my clips of that women's crazy match. I don't know. So I think I gave you some names, buddy. I mean, legit Leela Hirsch. I mean, how legit is she? I don't know if she won tonight or not, but they could fire her and say it's because she's Russian. You know what I mean? I guess she was getting a little heat tonight because she's got the Russian flag on her tights. Although she's Russian, it's not her fault what's going on. Another person with their engine. What would be a good roster size for AEW, do you think? Good point. I really think that all you need for a wrestling company is 40 people. God, why is this person just sitting there with their engine running? They got a cool car, but it's like, now they're just sitting there like a total schmuck. I would say asshole, but I don't want them to shoot me. What would be a good roster size for AEW? I think 40. 4-0. But if you're going to do... But, if you only had 40 wrestlers within 6 months, people would be saying, oh, we've seen all these matches before. You know what I mean? Black, what's his name? Adam Pack, the bastard Pack. He needs to be wrestling Bryan Danielson. Thank you for leaving with your loud car. God, I hate people. I just hate human beings. Like, if I had a pet peeve, it's people. You know what I mean? In your fucking car. Go away. Drive home. And go shoot somebody downtown, but just leave me alone. Wardlow theoretically should be able to pull Sammy's entire spinal column. Oh, I hope they get arrested. I really do. I hope you drive up a tree and die. How about that? Wardlow theoretically should be able to pull Sammy's entire spinal column out from the rest of his body, his skull, unless, geez, Chungus. Who is Sammy defending the belt against this Wednesday? Isaiah Cassidy? No, Sammy's defending against Scorpio Sky. And then, right? I think that's... So the winner of Scorpio Sky, who was like the face of the Revolution a year ago, he's going to face Sammy. And then the winner of that faces Wardlow. So that's my point, is that you basically put us into a position where, unless you're going to hold off on Wardlow's title shot, or unless he's going to give it over to MJF, which he shouldn't, because, I mean, to me, please don't do what the WWE does. Don't have the guy turn and then forget about it 24 hours later. So it's got to be Scorpio Sky defending or winning the title, perhaps, from Sammy, and then Scorpio Sky being like a Bob Backlund 1994 champion 2 days and losing it to Wardlow and putting some gold around Wardlow's waist and having the MJF challenge Wardlow for the fucking TNT title. That's how I would do it. But I mean, once again, my point is that too fast for Wardlow? Do you need to put a belt on the big guy right now? I don't think Sammy needs the AEW belt, to be honest with you. I think Sammy's kind of established, and, but I mean, it's all very interesting. Here's some other people coming. Then what do we have next? So the 6-man was pretty wild. Then we had the world title defense. Did I miss any matches, people? Please write the match down if I forgot some fucking match. I still want to get to my point about the commentary team tonight. The main event I thought was good. It was actually my favorite match of the night. I gave it 4 stars out of their own possible 5. Based on the potential of the match, I gave it 4 out of 5. I thought it was a really good match, as I predicted it. I think I predicted Adam Page to win. I wouldn't have been shocked if Cole won. I thought it was good. I mean, the thing with the knee pad and the fucking head, I mean, to me, you're kind of insulting my intelligence a tinge. I don't think it fucking matters if a guy has a knee pad on or not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like their knees are made out of fucking steel or kryptonite. Okay. So what are you trying to tell me? I thought it was good. I thought it was a good, nice match. More people with more vehicles. So I thought it was good. I mean, it was a nice match. You had the fucking young fucks come out. You had the Red Dragon and the fucking. Well, actually, it was Red Dragon came out, and then the other guys came out. The fucking Dark Order. I think if AEW cut down its roster size, Miro would be good to book in a spot and focus on more, or release him so he can leave the territory and have runs elsewhere, maybe return in the future, etc. Sure, of course. But I think here's the thing: just like Vince did 10 years ago, or even 3 or 4 years ago, these wrestling promoters get greedy. They want to sign everybody, and a lot of times they want to sign people so other people can't use them. WWE said, "Fuck it, we're going to fire a lot of people," but that was after they hired a lot of people. And WWE has these wonky contracts where they have you under contract, but you're not really getting paid unless you're wrestling. Sometimes it's a weird way to do things. The wrestlers don't always get good deals with their contracts. I don't know how it works in AEW. I'm not there for these contract signings. But in any event, I mean, we all like to play general manager. We all like to play GM. You know, like who would I cut? Who would I fire? Who would I pay more money to? What would I do if I was the booker? You know, but who the fuck knows? I mean, but I would say if I was the booker, I'd put fucking Pac against Bryan Danielson. That would be a pay-per-view match right there. But fucking Pac has to show up because I think 2 or 3 times Pac has missed major pay-per-view matches because of whatever the fuck reason, because of his paperwork. So it's like, Pac, are you gonna be there or fucking not? I'm really famished. I think I need to just drink more liquids. Okay, I need to drink more liquids all the fucking time. Oh boy. So what else? Okay, here's my bitch about the commentary. You ready, folks? You excited for this? I've gone to probably 40 live events of AEW, all at Daly's Place, all at the same place. I went to the Double or Nothing 2021 where Dr. Britt won the title. I went to the first show I was at, I believe, was the Penelope Ford wedding night. Okay. I've been there for a lot of stuff. When what was that Japanese women's wrestler? This really cute one, the Mio Sato or whatever. When she was there in AEW for a night, I was there. I was there for the second Tyson appearance. I was there for the Shaquille O'Neal Jade Cargill tag match, Shaq and Jade versus Cody and Velvet. I was there for that. I was there for the House Always Rules, for the Mikey Tiers that paid 99 cents a month for this wonderful behind the scenes content. Yes, exactly. Maki Ito. Thank you, buddy. Very pretty girl, wrestler. But if you pay the 99 cents a month, you can see some of my clips that you can't see on the main channel because of copyright issues and music and so forth. Suicide Girls footage, all types of wonderful things you can see for the Mikey Tiers, 99 cents a month. Give it a shot. Cancel any time, but just fucking pay for it once. And also buy my book, A Distance from Avalon. So basically my point is this: all these goddamn shows that I've gone to, only once, and it was only like this past week because of the dog collar thing. Only once have I felt the need to watch the Dynamite television broadcast after I attended the live event. After I attended Dynamite in person, where no commentary, because they don't pipe in the commentary to the fans. So I'm just sitting there watching these matches dry. Okay. I don't have all the camera angles. I don't have the commentary of Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Jim Ross, or whoever the fuck else is doing commentary on any given show. Never have I felt the need to go back and watch the video until this last week with the MJF CM Punk thing. Why is this, you might be wondering? Because I kind of just enjoyed the shows the way that I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them from my own seat. I enjoyed them from my own perspective. And here's the thing. And I was going to look up these guys' names. Do you guys remember the on the Muppets, the two old men at the beginning of the Muppets that make fun of the fucking Muppets? They have names. I was gonna look it up, but I fucking didn't, and now I can't because we're doing the live stream. But there was these two old fucking men that were up in the fucking rafters of the Muppet shows. Chungus or somebody, if you want to Google this for me. What was the name of the fucking Muppet old men? Old men in the balcony on the fucking Muppets. They had names. But basically they sit up there and they fucking make fun of the goddamn Muppet show on the Muppet show. And then the fucking Muppets start. Uh, who are these fuckers? Oh, thanks, Luke. Thank you very much, buddy. Statler and Waldorf. That's Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross, or the Statler and Waldorf of AEW. And I'm not sure which one is which, but whichever Statler and Wardorf is like the grumpier one, that's Jim Ross. Because you know that like Tony Schiavone's thinking he was wishing he was watching Starrcade 84, Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair with Joe Frazier as the ref. And Jim Ross wishes he was in the fucking car with Danny Hodge, okay, and driving to see Steve Dr. Death Williams at a collegiate wrestling meet and trying to sign him to the Cowboy. So, I mean, these guys are just totally out of their fucking element. You know what I mean? And it's like, they're just fucking out of it. Like, you know, like they're trying, but it's like kind of like hanging out with your uncle who's trying to be cool and talk about rap music. And he's talking about how great Tupac is. Or, hey, I heard this Biggie Poppy guy on the radio. And you're like, no, it's Big Papa. Oh, yeah, Biggie Poppy. These fuckers, they're just, and I like Jim and I like Tony and I like listening to especially Jim Ross's fucking podcast, although he is a slobber knocker and he pitches his goddamn barbecue sauce. Ad-free shows, but we're going to fucking plug barbecue sauce and Kurt Angle jerky all fucking night. But the point is, you know, they're really just Excalibur. It's really like my whole thing has changed because I used to really hate Excalibur because he was kind of dorky, he'd make a lot of mistakes, his voice would kind of crack and shit. And I'm like, well, thank God they have Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone to bring this fucking rookie up to speed. But now I'm thinking he's the one that's keeping this thing going because he actually like knows the fucking moves and knows what the fuck to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, buddy, that's what I'm getting at, man. Lawrence, you summarized my feelings, buddy. Do you think AEW needs a fresher commentary team? Yes, I think they do. And I'm thinking, you know, myself and my buddy Joe Cronin, we used to work together at Top Rope Promotions. We did a hell of a good job. I did a hell of a good job by myself, but I mean, I just know how these things work. These assholes have jobs for life. So maybe, you know, but I mean, I love those guys. I love Schiavone and I love Jim Ross as much as you can. Love another man that you don't know in person and have no biological ties to. But I mean, I've been watching these fuckers forever, but they're kind of like going on fumes now. And they're fucking Waldorf and Statler, Statler and Waldorf. It's just like, because why I say that is they're doing the fucking commentary and you can hear them like kind of fucking with it. Like Jim Ross is kind of making little insults to the fucking match. And I did catch some flubs tonight. Botch of the night, Britt Baker audibly calling a backbreaker. Like she could just hear her say backbreaker. And then fucking she bounces off the ropes and lo and behold, oh, Thunder Rosa develops a backbreaker. Eddie Kingston moves himself into position for a Chris Jericho line salt. Did you guys see that? You probably did. Fucking what's his dick? Darby Allin caught like a fucking corner of fucking Statler and Woodendorf. Yes. Fucking Darby Allin's coffin drop on Matt Hardy, like hit like the corner of his fucking hip. You know what I mean? I guess it makes up for that when Matt Hardy dropped the elbow on Nobody a while ago, if you remember that one. What else? Some good old fashioned flubs tonight. Some good old fashioned flubs. You did have a comment here I forgot about. From the AEW buy-in, loved in the ring. Big man moments between Brody King and Eric Redbeard. They looked like sumo smashing into one another. It was great. Yeah, it was good. I really like this House of Black. I do feel that, and somebody on Facebook made a good point. They said Buddy Matthews left WWE because he was sick of his creative. He comes to AEW and he gets the exact same creative. Okay, touche. Good point, Facebook fuck. But I mean, I think Buddy Matthews looks good at least, you know, and I don't know. Maybe now Vicky Guerrero works there, so maybe they'll bring in her daughter for him now. She's 21 or whatever the fuck. Chris Jericho did all right, play-by-play on Rampage. I liked him the first couple of weeks, Laurence, but then he started to become like a screeching cat. Like he just fucking yells all his goddamn shit. By the way, Luthez, if you're still there, buddy, what would Luthez do? I did give you a shout out today on I did my pro wrestling Mandela Effect video Here's the question for all you people that are watching right now. Who was Big Show's first opponent in the WWE? Who was Paul White's first opponent, his first match? Not his first appearance, but his first match in WWE, not WCW. Don't Google it. See if you can remember it first. But I had a very clear memory of that, and it's not what it was. It's not what the fuck it is, or was, or fucking time universe shit. So please, if you're not familiar with the Mandela effect, this is a wonderful bridge for you to go down the fucking rabbit hole. No, I'm talking about WWE, because remember when I'm talking about not WCW, I'm talking about when he came to the WWF. Paul White came to the WWF in 1999. What was his first match? Not his first appearance, but his first match. What I remember, Lou Thesz, is not what it says now in the history books. But I have a very clear memory. I did mention you, and I did mention our buddy Ozzie Morrison, because you guys were nice enough to watch my Mandela Effect residue from The Office, talking about Smokey the Bear. Do you guys remember Smokey Bear or Smokey the Bear? What's the name of that fucking firefighting bear? Should AEW hire Joey Styles? Would that boost commentary? Here's the thing, Lorenz, and I'm going to stand by it. I don't think we need to bring in retread. And no offense to Joey, I love Joey's work in ECW, but once again, I don't know if that would be any different. It would just be another thing where trying to reboot the past, trying to apply something that was really of that time to now. Sometimes it works. Like I saw the Batman movie, and not a big spoiler, but there's a Nirvana song in the new Batman movie, right? And it works great. I won't say which song, but you can watch my Batman review if you want, and I talk about it. But that's mixing the 90s and the 2020s. Well, Chungus, watch my video, okay? Watch my, I just did it like 3 or 4 days ago, and it's on my Mandela Effect videos playlist. Just put Smokey the Bear, Mike Messier, or just go on my fucking channel page, look for the Mandela Effect playlist, and look up my Mandela Effect thing. I talk about the Smokey the Bear. Just look it up. But after this one, so the point is, I did do this video today, and I talked about the Mandela Effect with the Big Show, Paul White. And if anyone has connections, I know Adam DeMoy, who chimes in here sometimes. He's got all these connections to Conrad World. Well, if you get this in front of Paul White, ask him who his first opponent was. What was his first match in WWF 1999? And my very clear vision of it apparently is not what's going on in this world we're in now, okay? So people talk about the multiverse with Spider-Man or multiple universes and so forth, and it sounds crazy and blah, blah, blah. But if you look up the Mandela Effect, if you're talking about the Berenstein Bears, how do you spell the Berenstein Bears? What did Rodney King say after the LA riots is a popular Mandela Effect? I remember him saying one thing, if you guys remember that story. Well, that's what I'm saying, Luthez. Like I said, watch my Office. I did the video just a couple of days ago. But the Mandela Effect thing is very strange. CERN, I think you might have made the comment, CERN makes these fucking black holes that could be fucking with everything, and so on and so forth. So it's an exciting time to be alive, because you don't know what's going to happen. Your memories might change, but I'm telling you, if you guys could remember who was Paul White's first opponent after when he appeared in WWF 1999, well, it's not what it makes. Yeah, exactly. So Chungus is doing the research. I'm sure he's Googling, or he knows this stuff already. Berenstein, but now it's Berenstain. Correct. Shaking your head. So yeah, the fight, and I said the Kurt Hennig. If you look back on that thing we were on, Lou, the other guy, Ozzie Morrison, made a comment about Kurt Hennig. I remember Kurt Hennig with like ends at the beginning and ends at the end, like 3 ends. Kurt Hennig, and now it's Kurt Hennig. Like, what the fuck is that? So I'm just telling you, folks. Another big Mandela effect for me was that there was a sportscaster, good guy, named Warner Wolf. well, long story short, and when I was a kid, this sportscaster named Glenn Herzog passed away. Okay, he died, and he was the guy in DC for Channel 9. And then when I went off to college, I came back and they said, his replacement for a couple of years was this dude named Warner Wolf, who apparently used to be in DC as a sportscaster, went up to New York. They brought him back when Glenn passed away, and Warner took his spot. Warner Wolf, who was actually one of the commentaries in Rocky IV, believe it or not. The fight in Moscow, Warner Wolf is in there. So Warner Wolf takes the place of Glenn Herzog, and then he gets fucking cancer and dies. And I remember sitting there reading the like an article, not an obituary, but like an article about Warner Wolf and his whole career, and now he's dead, and isn't this sad? And it was two guys who had the same job back to back who both died from cancer, Warner Wolf and Glenn Herzog. Well, guess the fuck what? I start hearing about this fucking Mandela effect, and Warner Wolf is no longer dead. He's alive, and now he's doing these interviews in New York, and he's still alive now. So I remember reading this guy's obit, like not like a tribute article, okay? And so it's like, well, I thought you were dead, and now you're magically alive. Look into the whole Mandela effect thing, guys. It's really kind of boggling, and now it's going into wrestling. I know, buddy, it is a what the fuck thing, okay? And the original Mandela effect is very interesting. This woman had a memory that when Nelson Mandela died, which was actually on my birthday, December 5th, I want to say of 2014 or 17. I keep getting that mixed up, but I think it was actually 14. But when Nelson Mandela died, all the coverage was Nelson Mandela died, blah, blah, blah. This lady had a blog going, and I think she was like a psychic or something. She's like, hey, I remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 80s, and all these celebrities were going on Oprah wearing his prison numbers as a respect, like this, like his Mandela's prison numbers became like the pop culture T-shirt of the moment for a while, and everyone was wearing these fucking prison numbers of Nelson Mandela. And she's like, I remember him dying in prison. And now we have a whole thing where he became the fucking president of South Africa. Well, if you really think about it, what makes more sense? The guy dying in prison after being, fucking a political prisoner for all those years, or the guy getting out of prison and becoming the president? What's a more logical story? Well, probably died in prison. So that's what this lady remembered. But she was wrong, at least in our world, because she's waking up and she's saying, oh my God, this guy, he was the president of South Africa. And she's very confused, and she posts her little article online, and then it caught fire. People like, hey, I remember that. I remember him dying. Why is he still alive? Laurent says, thoughts of someone who could be a fresh face to add and make a fresher AEW commentary team. Me, basically. Conrad Thompson, think he could do well. Love his stuff on future. I do like Conrad. I listen to all his shows, but I'm getting a little sick of Conrad sometimes, to be honest with you. I did do a nice interview with him. He never fucking retweeted it. You can find that nice interview on Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. He wouldn't allow his face to be shown or whatever the fuck. He used like a big fucking cartoon. Nice guy, though. I like Conrad. I went to his live show. I did a review. I wasn't impressed. It was a B+ show. They didn't have any special guests. They didn't face the audience. It was kind of weird, the one that I saw. I don't know, man. I feel like, Laurence, you're giving some good thoughts. I mean, Van Vliet's very crisp. You know what I mean? How do I put this? I kind of just want some new person. Like I don't want anybody that I already know from something else. I think Conrad's aw shucks shit would kind of wear thin after a while. Like he likes to go to his southern expressions. Here in the South, we have an expression about chocolate pudding tastes good with whipped cream. That's what we say in the South. Like, like everything he says is, here in the South, we say if you flip a coin, it might end up heads or tails. Like he has all these, I don't know, man. I think we just need some new people. No one that we've ever heard of. How about that? Me, but I'll do it, but I mean, I just don't know, man. I don't know. So that's it, folks. Any more final questions or thoughts or queries? I'll give it another minute or two. Other than that, overall, I thought the AEW Revolution good show, maybe not a great show, but it could have just been me. It really could have. Maybe I just was bored with it. You know what I mean? Maybe I wasn't up for it as much as I thought I was. Who the fuck knows? Maybe I was dehydrated. Uh, like I said, I think two pay-per-views ago they really peaked. I'm curious, when was that fucking Eddie Kingston fucking CM Punk match? It seemed, I guess it was at the last pay-per-view like 4 months ago, but it seems longer than that. And that Christian Cage Omega match seems like 10 years ago. So I mean, I give them credit, this AEW, because they this was a solid pay-per-view. I guess we didn't see any title changes, and I don't feel for my yeah, it was nice to see Regal, and it's nice to think that Regal and Mosley Moxley and Danielson are going to have like a little team now, and it was a good way to finish the match. Nobody looked particularly bad. Danielson got caught by a pin during the middle of the submission. So it was a good show. It just, to me, it's kind of like there's been a decline. Like the last three pay-per-view, like the last two were both really, really good. And I would even say that two pay-per-views ago, Punk versus Darby in Chicago, that was better than the one that followed it, right? And I feel like those two were kind of like really both really good, but two pay-per-views ago was better. This one, I think, was kind of a couple of ranks beneath those two. So there is a law, like it's kind of on a downward slope now for the last three pay-per-views. And I hope that they turn around for the next one in May. Could where AEW hire unknown talent for a fresher commentary team seem to work for WWE, even if they have trial and error with it. Well, here's the thing. Here's the difference, Lawrence. What I'm suggesting is that they, AEW or WWE, hire some guys that actually like wrestling. I mean, WWE's hired commentators more or less based on a certain look. They like Vince. Okay, let's not say they. It's fucking Vince McMahon likes Michael Cole looking guys. He likes white guys with black hair that are average to small in stature, who look good in a suit and make the wrestlers look big. That's what Vince likes. And you know, when Vince was a commentator before he started really getting into bodybuilding, he looked like kind of like one of those guys. Like he made the wrestlers look big. He was slick. He looked like a well-dressed guy. But Vince basically hires people in the Michael Cole mold, and Michael Cole kind of looks somewhat like a young Vince, except with facial hair, and Vince didn't really do facial hair. Um, so Vince is just hiring himself or like hybrids of himself, except he only goes by looks. He doesn't go by people's actual intellect or their passion for pro wrestling or their insight in pro wrestling. He doesn't like that. I mean, it seems like he barely liked Jim Ross. He just kept him around because the fans like Jim Ross. He didn't like Howard Finkel. Apparently, Howard Finkel was the victim of much abuse over there. It's the back WWE is so fucking backwards. They hire and they promote people who don't actually like wrestling for their fucking wrestling group, and they call it sports entertainment. I agree. AEW should hire people on the commentary team with a passion for wrestling. Correct. So I would suggest my fucking self, or my buddy Joe Cronin's good. We were a good team. There's plenty of good people out there, but I don't. When you talk about Chris Van Vliet, I think of him as the interview guy with Anne Hathaway. That's a good clip of Chris. I mean, you could say fucking Joe Rogan. You could say any of these guys. Joe Rogan's too busy. I think it's more like I want some fresh voices, and like surprisingly, this Excalibur guy by default, he's kind of grown on me. One thing with this AEW folks, some of the reason why I'm enjoying these shows so much now is because I've put the time in to watching these things. Like with the fucking Office, I didn't watch The Office until about 2 or 3 years ago. I started watching the fucking Office, the US version, and I really got into it. And the more you watch, you become forgiving of like the James Spader episodes. You become forgiving of when Michael Scott leaves the show. With AEW, it's kind of like that. Like, okay, no Cody Rhodes, fuck it. We'll watch Adam Cole versus Adam Page. We'll watch Bryan Danielson. We'll watch Chris Jericho against Eddie Kingston. You get familiar with these characters, and suddenly a Dr. Britt Baker is a much bigger deal in 2022 than she was in 2020. or 2019, or private party means more now than they did a few years ago, although they kind of don't. But you get my fucking point. The point is, you put emotional stock into these people, and they mean more to you as you watch it. For people that are tuning the channel and watching AEW now for the first time, I can see where it would be alienating. Like, I don't know if AEW does a good job at bringing in new fans to the shows. If, like, when they had CM Punk do his first interview, did that hook people in or not? How do you think the new How do I think the new AEW video game will go versus the new WWE video? I got into a little bit of heat today, Laurence. You know, some guys were posting their complaints about the WWE video game, and I made a smart ass comment. I was busting balls, but I said, "Hey, you know what? Whatever the fuck I said. It's like, if you, I said, why don't you read a fucking book?" Is basically what I said. I mean, no offense. You know, look, I used to play a lot of video games. Here's the real admittance. I mean, here's my vulnerable fucking side. I used to play so many goddamn video games. It was kind of all consuming. And these weren't even good video games. This is like fucking Nintendo 8-bit shit, like fucking Atari 2600 Joust and fucking Defender of the Crown, Nintendo 8-bit. Like, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Friday the 13th video game. I spent the whole fucking summer trying to kill Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th video game. And the big fucking gimmick is he never fucking dies no matter how many times you kill him. So the point is, I spent so many goddamn years playing video games. Mike Tyson's Punch Out, the fucking 8-bit pro wrestling game. But the last video game system I fucking purchased was a PlayStation 2, and I barely fucking played it, to be honest with you, and I eventually sold it. I don't know. I mean, the WCW versus the world, man. Like, my point is, I'm probably older than you, Laurence, and so it's just that I've kind of put my time into video games. When you get older, here's a goddamn little thought, and I don't like to be the old guy, but I will be for a minute. When you get to be older, you realize that your time is fucking limited. Like, I might be dead at age 60 or age 65, right? I might be fucking dead. Well, how much time do I have left? And how much of that time do I want to spend playing video games or watching WWE Raw or whatever the fuck? You know what I mean? If I only have a certain amount of hours left in my fucking life, what good is playing a goddamn video game of these fucking wrestlers going to service me and my fucking goals? Me writing my goddamn book, A Distance from Avalon, and Fighter Play Basketball, now available on Amazon Kindle. Me playing these fucking video games of these goddamn wrestlers improves my life none. Okay? So there you go. I get a little hot about it. How do I think the new AEW video game will go versus the new WWE video game? I don't know. I mean, I think I think what people are kind of complaining about with the AEW one is that it's been under development for so long. Now the platforms have improved, the consoles have improved, right? So that's the complaint. They've been saying they're fucking making this game, but I guess it's tough. I mean, if they never made a video game before, you know, and all the experienced people with WWE, they're not going to come over and work for AEW, I assume, for their video game. So who do you fucking get to fucking design this goddamn thing if you're starting from scratch? And by the time they get to a certain point, now the platforms, the consoles are expired, you know, because they get replaced so quickly. That's the other thing about video games, Laurence. Just when, like, every fucking generation, oh, it's 8-bit, now it's 16-bit, now it's 32-bit, now it's 64-bit, now it's this fucking bit. Well, you get to a goddamn point where it's like, Christ, I can't fucking, am I supposed to reinvest all my goddamn money into this fucking thing year after fucking year? I mean, that's what the fucking marks do. And the fucking millionaires are the ones selling the video games, not the ones buying the video games, okay? Now, that all being said, I did go to the 8-Bit Hall of Fame, which you can find on subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. It's a store for video games. You might enjoy that, buddy. I'm 35, so not too old, but I get you. Thanks, buddy. My mom was an old school video gamer, tabletop Pac-Man, very cool era, so we should raise on video games. I get it. And I look, I'm not shitting on video games altogether, but for me, maybe I am, but for me, what I'm saying is I put my video game time in. Similarly, I put my sitcom time in. When I was a kid, I would watch the goddamn Brady Bunch, Good Times, What's Happening, Family Ties, the goddamn Cosby Show, Growing Pains, Silver fucking Spoons with Ricky Schroeder, okay, James at 15, all these goddamn shows, Brady fucking Bunch, it wasn't really into Sanford and Son, Gilligan's fucking Island, all these goddamn shows I could fucking watch. I watched them so many times. You know, once the show started, I knew which one it was. The goddamn reruns. Three's Company was my favorite. Now I don't like watching episodic television. I tried to watch Ted Lasso 2 nights ago. I watched one episode. I was terribly bored by it. I didn't see all the fucking hype. What was all the hype about? My point is, I've spent a lot of time in my life playing video games and a lot of time watching television. So there's just certain things that I feel like I've done. So I don't really need to watch all these goddamn sitcoms. And people get all finger bang themselves for Game of Thrones. Fine. I call it tits and dragons, is what I call it. I get you. Video games can be repetitive after a bit as you get older. You get over them. Yeah, exactly, buddy. So I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying, for me, I've been there. I've done that. Got the T-shirt, not the hat. You know what I mean? I've just been around the block a few fucking times. And I do feel like even tonight's AEW was kind of like that. Okay, this is the third time I've gone to a movie theater to see the fucking AEW pay-per-view. And it feels like the last two times were really good. The last one wasn't as good as the one before it, but it was close. This one felt a couple of levels down, maybe because there was no title changes and maybe because of me. But I do feel it's a little bit diminished. Law of diminishing returns, guys. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that I pulled over and I did this now while the takes were fresh. I'm going to try and open up my email while I keep the camera rolling. If I cut off, uh, then check in tomorrow or whatever the fuck if I do another video. AEW Apologist number 24 hopefully is up on Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube channel by now. I had my predictions for this show, so you can see if I was right or wrong. And please, Luthez, Laurence, and everybody, check out the Chungus. Check out the Mandela Effect video I did. And I did that one today, so that's a fresh one. But let me see if I can open up this email. If you're still here, we'll see. Am I still running, folks? I don't even know. I don't even know if I'm still running. Here are my notes. So I didn't give